Hello and welcome back, and like the results of the poll showed, we are back with the next video on how to train your building skills for decorations. Now, what does decorations include? Well, interior, exterior, and I would say paths as well. Those are the things we're looking for today, so let's get right into the first overview. So I would say let's start with interior and exterior. Interior, I would say, is everything inside of a building. Exterior, it's everything outside of a building or a road or a lot of things on the outside. But I think the most important thing for me, you can have a complete different view to it. This is exterior is the things when I build a house again and again, the exterior always looks different, but the main house, the structure is always the same. Of course, the interior can look different again and again as well, but the exterior is the first thing you see, and they all have the same roof, they all have the same foundation, but for example, in this case, they have different flowers. They have the bushes a little bit different. Things like this. So let's go in and out. First on the outside. See, nothing too special. That's just plain survival build. I have a fence, I have a carrot field, I have a composter. Just plain nothing else. A little bit of light outside to prevent things from spawning. A lot of chests, ovens, and ender chest, anvil, enchantment area, more storage, ovens, more storage, a bed. Nothing too special, just all you need to survive. And nothing where you actually do see what I want to talk about first. Well, not directly, it will be a little bit more obvious in the next way. See, on the outside a little bit more happens. Grass, we use buttons as small stones, stairs and slabs and blocks as stones, bigger stones, trapdoors and slabs for a bench. So I think by now when I point all those things out, you see, using things as something they look like and not what they are. Like, for example, again, rocks or small stones being simulated by the buttons, making some small boulders kind of with stones, with blocks and all. So that's one thing. And depending on how you build, that's another thing. Not having everything too strict, too formal, a little bit randomized, like the fence here or the bushes there, just doesn't fit for everything, but for this case it does fit. Again, we have the lamps. Instead of just some lanterns, we use redstone lamps with their night sensors to make light, to have some bigger lanterns, and simple design. There are really beautiful ones outside. You can just look up how to do them, but that's how I would build in a survival world that I would show people, where I play with other people to just impress a bit. That's why there's still a lot of storage, but a little bit more bed, carpet, flower pots, even the trapdoor on the working bench, carpet inside here. Again, we have the enchantment area because it's really important for survival. But we have different ovens, not only the standard ones, because not only are they useful for food or for ores, but they look different. That just gives a different feel. Just makes it look a little bit nicer. So yeah, that's the next step, and I think it's pretty clear that using things not as how they are intended does help, and adding a path, that's why we later will talk about them as well. Now the last step is where I would just go out on this just has to look good, there needs to be no function. So I made something of a road. I went for more of a lantern design, how you could see it on the street, a little bit simplified for Minecraft, but yeah, more like this. And instead of just having it wildly around the house, that's like when I want to go for a full city, I need fences, and instead of the normal Minecraft fences, 2 trapdoors make a pretty nice fence, I would say, for a house. Again, because nothing for survival, placing a lid in form of a trapdoor on a composter is pretty nice. No need to fence in the area because I don't care about mobs if it just has to look good. Making a little bit of texturing in the ground like we did on episode 3, making the path a little bit more versatile with 3 blocks instead of only 2, or more precisely 4 blocks in this case. Adding more things like benches, tables, a small pond. Trying myself on trees, I definitely have to learn organics a bit more, and I feel like I missed a spot. Hi. Thank you. Nothing happened. But yeah, another thing in this case is adding more is pretty helpful, like the vines to the leaves, more things around, more different blocks as visual things, places to lay down, ponds, trees, benches, just to make it a little bit more to see. Adding chimney, and because I wanted to go for the flower pot design, make my own smoke with webs. If you watch other people that do way more things this kind of way, you know glass is also really well or good to use for smoke, but I'm not there, so I did not try for now, but I do know I want to try for the future. Again, I need some chairs and a table. The sleeping area is a little bit different. It still has a lot of storage, even with a closet, but it's more like, okay, you just sleep here, have your things stored, have some more plants inside of here, have the inside of the chimney kind of going around a little bit crooked, but it's kind of fitting to how the house looks on the outside. I could have made a different floor in here, but yeah, well, I just didn't. I wanted to keep it simple, but put a kitchen here because, again, I do not need anything else. It's not for survival, that's just purely to look kind of good. And we have another example, a trapwire hook for a sink with a cauldron, a pressure plate as a cutting board, an iron pressure plate, and a flower pot as a plate, and a cup. Things just used different. An iron trapdoor with iron blocks for a fridge. So a lot of the things are not what they actually are used for, but now they are, kind of. Another thing that I wanted to show, now that's actually a pretty cool design for a lamp, but with how everything looks inside of here, the lanterns and everything, the glow lichen for the flowers, for the bushes to glow a little bit, this lamp does not fit. So even if you have a nice idea, it's not always fitting. You could say the same thing about the end rod here for the tables, but I was like, In the beginning I thought about the street I had here, and I made some designs in the beginning. They were like, yeah, that fits with the area it should be in, with a street like this on the outside. And then I realized, no, that actually is not that fitting. I mean, the kitchen kind of fits because it's so hidden, and it's separated from the rest of the house, but this area not. So another thing is, keep in mind what you build, where you build it. So decorations can look great, and even ones that are great looking, when you use them in the wrong place, something feels kinda off. But I said something about two ways, two things you can use for decorations in particular. So just let us go to the next one. So I talked about two ways you can improve, which are especially fitting for decorations, besides seeing things as something else, and that's just looking at real life things. For example, I hope the translation is correct, but I will show a picture. There are clothes horses where you hang your clothes to dry, and I try to imitate those, but they're just way too big. That's okay from the size, because there are huge ones, but this one was way too huge, and you cannot really hang banners to emulate clothes really good from the two of those. And then I had an idea, like, that looks kinda okay, but having this a little bit down is really good for those foldable parts. So I prepared something here, because then I came to the idea, okay, that's a little bit too big. But what if I make it a little bit smaller and use redstone torches underneath to do this? Maybe I can get something nice looking through this. Of course, it doesn't need to work perfectly, but from afar, and if you know what it is supposed to be, it's kind of convincing. If you go close to it, it has the right size. From my point of view now, it feels a little bit like I would stand on a real thing. Of course, that's not working for everything. You, I don't know, may not have a medieval throne at home, so you don't know how it feels to sit on one or stand in front of one if you want to try to replicate this. But for some things, it works fine. And then I was like, okay, that's kinda okay, that's kinda good. But the proportions are still a little bit off. For me to the thing, it's good. But those foldable parts would meet in the middle. So I was like, okay, this is better. This is more for the size of the thing. Let's try it this way. Maybe not stand completely wrong. And yeah, then I came to this one, and again, it's not perfect. And I placed the banners always on the wrong part. But yeah, like, it ain't bad. But it is something that kinda does look good, it does look the part. And then it depends on how big is the house. So those two are the most on scale thing for me is in Minecraft, and most fitting to go in any of those builds. Maybe not those three, but any bigger ones over there. But then again, if I would make a really huge house where me and Minecraft would be a little bit too small, I definitely could improve the bigger design, or just have this as a small one. There are multiple ways. Scale for decorations is a really important thing, and you just have to do what feels most comfortable for you. Then I had another idea. I have made some failed tries, but then I was like, those claw forces exist in a more cubical way, like maybe like this, because I cannot make it. I'm not capable of having it being more wrong stacked like this with multiple layers, because well there is now a gap, so this does not feel like those. I mean, I show you a picture of what I wanted to try this time as well, but for my opinion that does not cut it. But yeah, those are the things for decorations that are really well working, because you can try things out for a house when you see some in real life, but then again, a house, a building is a lot, and if you're playing in survival, it's a lot of resources you need, a lot of angles you need to watch from. So trying in creative, yes, still works for buildings, but decorations, it's just for survival easy, because okay, let's see, how much iron do I have spent? The maximum 6. I think those are 4 for 2, so 4, 8, 12, but 26 iron, 2 redstone, a lot of wool, but this is not a huge amount of resources. That some amount most of the time is possible. So with that being said, now the last thing is paths. So to the next spot we go. Now to the last thing. I mentioned paths. Here we are with some paths, and I think they're great. You can decorate your houses with them, you can decorate your cities with them, you can decorate the way from point A to point B with them, and even add decorations to those paths, roads, however big you want to make them, which really is a helpful tool. For me, I think there are like 3 options you have for paths, which you can choose to do or not do, which gives you a couple of options, and we go over them. You see them already. I will not go over particular path designs. I will find a video I like that inspired me and link it down. Same for decorations in general. But yeah, let's now go over those 3 things. I think you see it pretty clear. You can texture. To have your path textured, or to go from one block palette all the way to a complete different one, depending on how long you want to make it. You can choose the long route to go from one to the other, or a shorter one. Of course, depends on how much space you have. You can do the same pattern or kind of randomness that I try to use. 2 wide, 1 wide, 3 wide, 4, 5, all depending on what you need. Oh yeah, so you have those options for paths. You have the way you can choose when you not do this, or even when you do this, put nothing on the sides, put something on the sides. Those are just some fitting examples, I think, for like a mud path, for a hiking trail, or for a forest, some greenery, for a rugged stone path. In this case I used tough for it. Nothing, soften it with some gravel or some tiles if you want to go like more of a rugged street in a city. You can have some concrete for a really smooth street, where you can use stairs for drainage, or a canal where the water flows. Again, you can, for example, make a sidewalk with a lantern or without. But yeah, those are just some examples. Without something, with something. Of course, if you go for a city and have roads like this, nothing is kind of strange, but not impossible. I just decided to not show it in that case. But the principle is the same. So, principle, yeah, that's definitely the wrong word. The idea is the same. Now, the other thing is, you see those kind of clean borders, you can have them fade out. Using the same blocks, one block or multiple blocks, in a more random way with whatever block is around. In this case, it's grass, to just have it fade out. Like, people did not just follow the path, they just sometimes walk off the path, trampled a little bit, took some gravel, some stone to the side, or walked so much over the stone that it became dirt again and overgrew, or made it so that no grass will grow over it again. You know the idea behind it. And the fading out you can use with borders as well. If you put something to the side, of course, not everything is perfectly fitting. That's why I don't have an idea for everything. But for like a mud path, for in the forest or a hike, it's pretty simple. Same thing as before, just have some random mud and coarse dirt blocks on the outside so it's trampled. Same with the tuff, have some gravel, or maybe even some tuff as well. Just did not do it, but would not really be that big of a difference. Have it a little bit randomized, or when you just have gravel all around, just get a little bit more. Again, I kept it pretty simple, but for things like this you can add it however you want. Now for something like this with some tiles to simulate a sidewalk, I don't have a good idea. Best I have is have maybe a sidewalk like this or like this, and then have gravel, and to do the same you did there, have it faded out. But then for something like in a city, yeah, making it wider to have a different kind of drainage or have a canal and the sidewalk, that just made it wider and added details to it, but it did not really make it fade out. So I don't actually have an idea. I don't say it's not possible. Probably is. People probably have done it already. All I can say is I don't have an idea how to do it. But that's one of the reasons why I do those videos. To know what I don't know and try to learn it. So when I ever get to the part 2 of all the topics, I hope I find a way to fade out the roads, the paths on us in a city. But yeah, those are just my ideas. They help me. I can't tell, or I can't tell you that they have to help you. Can't force you. Thanks, that's the word I needed. But I can show you what helps me, the thinking I have. Maybe it helps. Hopefully it helps. Maybe it just entertains. But yeah, those are the things for decorations. It's just add things. The more you add, the more detailed it looks. It's kind of nice to decorate this way. Try things out by just mimicking the real world. Think outside the box, use things as they're not intended, and if you can, use paths. Kinda strange the last one, but I think they add so much, that's why I wanted to include them in this video. Oops, but with all of this said, thank you for watching. If you haven't, maybe subscribe. With that being said, until next time, see ya.